in person. So I think that's something we both have in common, both our characters.
In the world of television, there are rare moments when a fictional friendship leaps off the screen and begins to feel like something more, something real, something alive in the hearts of millions. For fans of Netflix's Wednesday, the connection between Jenna Ortega and Emma Myers has become one of those obsessions. It's not just the chemistry of Wednesday and Enid, it's the way Jenna glances at Emma during interviews, the way Emma's laugh seems to pull Jenna out of her reserved shell, and the countless moments fans have dissected frame by frame, searching for clues that maybe, just maybe, there's more here than friendship. This is the story of Winclair, the ship that refuses to die, no matter how many times the creators insist otherwise. It all started during the early press junkets for Wednesday. The cast was new to the public, and yet from the very first joint interviews, something about Jenna and Emma stood out. Jenna, often quiet and deliberate in her words, would subtly soften when Emma spoke. Emma, on the other hand, seemed to naturally gravitate toward Jenna, leaning in when she talked, laughing even at her driest jokes. Fans noticed these small interactions immediately, clipping them into TikTok edits and posting captions like, "They're so comfortable with each other," or "Tell me they're not perfect together." It wasn't long before Winclair wasn't just a ship name for their on-screen characters, it became the label for their real-life dynamic. Every look, every shared smile, was fuel for the theory that maybe this was more than just co-stars playing friends. As filming progressed, behind-the-scenes footage started to surface, and it only deepened the fascination. There was the moment during a blooper reel when Jenna, breaking character, smiled at Emma in a way fans swore they had never seen before. Soft, warm, and completely unguarded. There were candid shots from the set showing them walking arm in arm between takes, Jenna holding her coffee while Emma playfully tried to steal it. Your support means everything. Hit subscribe and discover more untold stories with us. And then came the fan-captured video from a cast dinner in Romania, where the two sat close together in the corner, talking quietly, unaware or perhaps unbothered by the cameras around them. Each of these moments added layers to the Winclair narrative, and the internet did what it does best. It archived, analyzed, and amplified them until they became iconic. The more the ship grew, the more often both the cast and the creators were asked about it. Emma, in an early interview, called the dynamic a beautiful friendship and laughed off any romantic interpretations. Jenna, in her usual composed manner, simply said, "We're just very close friends." But fans weren't convinced. In fact, the denials seemed to have the opposite effect. They made the ship even stronger. Every time a journalist brought up Winclair and the actresses downplayed it, Twitter threads erupted with comments like, "They're just hiding it," or "This is exactly what they'd say if it was real." And so, the push and pull between fan theories and official statements became part of the Winclair legend. By the time the first season of Wednesday had fully taken over Netflix's global charts, Winclair had exploded far beyond traditional fandom spaces. On TikTok, edits of Jenna and Emma were racking up millions of views, set to romantic songs or voiceovers that made even the smallest interactions feel like confessions of love. Some edits contrasted scenes from the show with candid moments from press tours, creating a seamless illusion that the line between Wednesday and Enid was paper thin. The hashtag Winclair passed tens of millions of views in just weeks, and fan accounts began producing daily content, dissecting interviews frame by frame, pointing out matching outfits, or analyzing the way Jenna's body language seemed to open up only when Emma was around. It wasn't just shipping, it was collective storytelling, with thousands of people building a narrative together in real time. Soon, Winclair wasn't just a conversation online. It became a visible part of pop culture. Independent artists on Etsy sold stickers, prints, and even jewelry inspired by the ship. Some fans designed hoodies with stylized portraits of Jenna and Emma as Wednesday and Enid, while others went a step further creating crossover art where the actresses appeared as themselves but still intertwined in the Winclair narrative. At conventions, fans showed up in coordinated cosplays, one dressed as Wednesday, the other as Enid, sometimes holding hands for photos that would inevitably be shared with captions like, "The real Winclair energy." This commercialization didn't just reflect the ship's popularity, it reinforced it, making Winclair not just an online theory, but a shared cultural phenomenon that fans could literally wear on their sleeves. When Netflix officially announced the return of Wednesday for a second season, it wasn't just the plot fans were eager to speculate about. It was the evolving relationship between its two breakout stars. The press cycle leading up to production was filled with small but intriguing details. In one red carpet interview, Jenna mentioned that she had been spending a lot of time with Emma, offset to keep their dynamic fresh, a comment that instantly made the rounds on social media. During a promotional livestream, Emma was asked about working with Jenna again, and she smiled, paused, and simply said, "She's my favorite part of the whole thing," before changing the subject, a moment that fans replayed endlessly. There were also the matching black nail designs both actresses sported at different events within weeks of each other, which some brushed off as coincidence but others saw as a quiet sign of connection. At a fan Q&A, when a question about Wednesday's closest ally in the upcoming season came up, both Jenna and Emma exchanged a quick glance before Jenna answered with, "It's always Enid no matter what," drawing cheers from the audience. Even the leaked set photos had their share of talking points. In one, Emma is holding an umbrella for both of them between takes. In another, they're reviewing lines together away from the rest of the cast. While none of this confirms anything beyond a close friendship, the accumulation of these moments keeps the Winclair conversation alive and, for some, more convincing than ever. For every moment that fuels the Winclair theory, there's another that suggests this might just be one of the most genuine friendships in Hollywood. On the Proship side, fans point to the way Jenna and Emma seem unusually attuned to each other, finishing each other's sentences in interviews, instinctively matching their body language, even wearing color-coordinated outfits at events without any apparent planning. In one viral clip from an awards ceremony, Emma was seated 2 tables away from Jenna, but when Jenna's name was called for a nomination, Emma was the first to stand and clap, her expression lighting up as if it were her own achievement. Then there's the infamous coffee run in Romania during the first season shoot, when local fans snapped photos of the two walking side by side in casual clothes, Jenna holding Emma's hand briefly as they crossed a busy street. But on the other hand, there's plenty of evidence that what we're seeing is simply the natural closeness that can develop between two co-stars, thrown into an intense production schedule far from home. Jenna has spoken warmly of several other cast members in the same affectionate tone she uses for Emma, and Emma has been open about building strong friendships on every set she works on. In group photos, they're often seen chatting with other co-stars, just as much as with each other. And in a podcast interview, Emma laughed off the idea of reading into every gesture, saying, "We just get along really well. And that's enough for me." These dual narratives, the hints of something deeper, and the reminders of simple friendship, are what keep the Winclair discussion endlessly alive, giving each side just enough to hold on to without ever settling the question for good. Picture this: the very first time Jenna and Emma walked into a room together for a press shoot. The contrast was so striking that photographers leaned in just to capture it. Jenna in dark, structured tailoring, her expression composed and unreadable. Emma in light pastels, smiling wide enough to soften the whole frame. That contrast didn't fade once the camera stopped rolling. During one interview, Emma leaned toward Jenna, said something the mic didn't catch, and Jenna's face broke into a grin so quick and genuine, it felt like catching a private moment by accident. On the cobblestone streets of a small European city where the show was filming, they were spotted side by side, takeaway cups in hand, wearing matching knit beanies, not staged, not posed, just two people bracing against the cold together. At a streaming platform's fan event, while cast members floated between groups, the two of them stood slightly apart, talking low and laughing at something only they seemed to understand. There was also that award show moment. The instant Jenna's name was called, Emma's reaction wasn't polite applause. She shot to her feet, clapping high above her head, beaming in a way that made the camera linger. And then, from the upcoming season set, the quiet shot that might be the most telling of all, the two bent over the same script, heads nearly touching, the rest of the set blurred behind them. None of these moments tell the full story, but together, they form the heartbeat of why Winclair has never stopped trending. Watch them closely in any joint interview, and you'll notice patterns that go beyond scripted promotion. Jenna, known for her precise, almost economical movements, often shifts her body slightly toward Emma even when addressing a third person, a subtle orientation that body language experts associate with trust and comfort. Emma, in contrast, is naturally more animated, but her energy softens around Jenna. Her gestures become smaller. Her tone drops just a fraction, as if tuning herself to match Jenna's rhythm. In a panel discussion, when a question caught Jenna off guard, Emma's hand briefly touched her forearm just long enough to steady, just short enough to avoid drawing attention. Fans have also noted the way their eye contact lingers past the socially normal beat, creating micropauses in conversation where they simply look at each other before one of them speaks. Even their laughter carries tells. Jenna's laugh in group settings is quick and closed, but with Emma, it often opens into a full smile, teeth showing, shoulders relaxed. And there's the way Emma sometimes mirrors Jenna's posture without realizing, crossing her legs the same way, leaning in at the same angle as sign, according to behavioral studies, of subconscious rapport. None of these moments confirm anything beyond a strong connection, but together they weave a texture that feels different from standard co-star camaraderie, the kind that makes viewers lean in, replay clips, and wonder what lies just out of frame. For all the clips and photos that fuel Winclair speculation, there are just as many moments that paint a picture of two professionals who simply built a deep friendship under unique circumstances. Jenna has been consistent in her interviews about valuing her privacy and drawing a line between her personal life and her work, making it unlikely that she would engage in anything romantic with a co-star in such a public spotlight. She's also spoken with equal warmth about other cast members, sharing anecdotes and inside jokes that show she forms strong bonds across the board. Emma, too, has emphasized in several podcasts that her favorite part of acting is finding a family on set. Not one person, but a whole group. In behind-the-scenes footage, they're just as often seen joking around with other co-stars, splitting into different conversations, or moving separately between takes. At industry events, they sometimes arrive and leave with entirely different groups, and in at least one instance, Emma brought a close friend from outside the industry as her plus one, suggesting her off-screen world is separate from her Wednesday circle. Even stylistically, their public appearances can differ wildly. Jenna leaning into high-fashion gothic looks, Emma favoring casual, approachable styles, choices that speak to individuality rather than intentional coordination. All of these points support the idea of a strong but platonic friendship. And yet, the very fact that these normal, grounded moments are carefully analyzed by fans shows just how hard it is to put the Winclair conversation to rest. The premiere of Wednesday's new season didn't just bring the show back into the streaming charts, it reignited the Winclair phenomenon almost overnight. Within hours of the first episode's dropping, clips flooded TikTok and Twitter, not just from the series itself, but from the Fresh Press tour. One standout moment came during a late-night talk show appearance. When asked about working together again, Jenna glanced at Emma, laughed under her breath, and said, "It's like we never stopped," while Emma nodded with a look that seemed to carry more than just professional agreement. In another interview, a reporter mentioned that fans had been hoping for more Wednesday Enid scenes, and Emma responded with, "They'll get what they want." followed by a quick shared smile with Jenna that sent fan accounts into overdrive. Social media also seized on candid footage from the season's wrap party, Jenna and Emma, caught in the middle of the crowd dancing to an upbeat track, their hands brushing as they turned in sync. And then there was the red carpet premiere. Jenna paused mid-interview when she noticed Emma struggling to adjust her dress, stepped over without hesitation, and fixed the strap before casually returning to her own conversation. A gesture so natural that it instantly became one of the most reposted clips of the event. Even in behind-the-scenes stills released by Netflix, fans spotted details like both of them wearing matching silver rings during certain shooting days that fueled more discussion. Whether these moments are just the byproduct of a close, enduring friendship or hints of something more, they've ensured that Winclair isn't just a first-season phenomenon. It's now a recurring chapter in the Wednesday cultural story. With the second season still fresh in the public's mind, the question isn't whether Winclair will keep trending, it's how far the story will go. Will the writers lean into the undeniable chemistry between Wednesday and Enid, giving fans the payoff they've been asking for? Or will they keep the relationship firmly in the realm of friendship, leaving the subtext to the audience's imagination? Outside the script, the path is just as unpredictable. Both Jenna and Emma have careers that are accelerating fast new film roles, modeling campaigns, and projects that could take them in very different directions. There's the chance that future schedules will pull them apart, making these shared moments rarer and thus even more precious. Or perhaps the opposite will happen. The success of Wednesday could bind them together professionally for years to come, ensuring that the Winclair narrative continues to evolve with every public appearance. And then there's the wild card, the fans themselves. As long as millions of people are clipping videos, making edits, and sharing theories, the conversation will never truly stop. It's that unpredictable intersection of art, reality, and audience passion that makes Winclair more than just another TV ship. It's a living story, still being written in real time. In the end, whether Winclair is a friendship forged in the fires of a demanding production, or something that quietly blurs the lines between fiction and reality, it has already carved its place in pop culture. Few on-screen pairings manage to leap into the real world with this much force, inspiring fan art, think pieces, and hours of video breakdowns from people who simply can't look away. It's not about confirmation or denial anymore. It's about the feeling people get when they see Jenna's guarded smile break in Emma's presence, or the way Emma's energy shifts when Jenna is near. These are the moments that stick, that replay in our heads long after the clip ends. And maybe that's the real magic of Winclair not knowing for sure, but wanting to believe in the story you see, even if part of it exists only in the spaces between words, in the glance that lasts a second too long, in the shared laughter that belongs only to them. The truth may never be spoken out loud, but the world will keep watching, frame by frame, waiting for the next spark. What makes Winclair even more fascinating is the way mainstream media has started to acknowledge it. Outlets like Entertainment Weekly and Cinema Blend have run features openly discussing the fan demand for more Wednesday Enid scenes, with some journalists even admitting that the on-screen chemistry between Jenna and Emma is hard to ignore. In one widely shared article, a critic wrote that the strength of Wednesday doesn't just come from its gothic mystery, but from the vibrant contrast and undeniable bond between its two young stars. Meanwhile, social media algorithms seem to agree. Type either of their names into YouTube or TikTok, and Winclair edits dominate the top results. Even lifestyle magazines have picked up on the trend, running fashion spreads comparing Jenna's sharp gothic silhouettes with Emma's softer pastel tones, framing them as yin and yang of Gen Z style. When fandom energy starts shaping how the press and even fashion media frame two rising stars, you know it's more than a passing trend. It's a cultural current that both actresses, willingly or not, are now part of. Winclair may never receive an official label, and maybe that's what makes it so magnetic. It exists in a liminal space, part fiction, part reality, part audience projection, and in that space it has captured millions. Whether Jenna and Emma are simply two friends who found each other in the chaos of fame, or something more that will never be spoken aloud, the result is the same. A story that feels alive, evolving, and deeply personal to those who follow it. It's proof that sometimes the most powerful connections aren't defined by words, but by glances, by laughter, by the kind of moments you can't script. And as long as the world keeps watching, Winclair will remain exactly what it is now, not just a ship, but a phenomenon. Thanks for watching. Your like or comment would really help me out. It's super important to me.